Aga, how did you find carnivore?
It seems like a carnivore found me. I found myself very, very ill about 4 years ago after I contracted COVID. COVID itself wasn't very challenging. However, the symptoms that I started experiencing right after were very severe, and they were of many different natures. They were physical, they were emotional. Mental health wise, I started feeling extremely unstable. I had mood swings that were so extreme. I felt like I'm going to exit my body because it was so overwhelming. And so my body was in such alarming state. Probably not just due to COVID, but the fact that I was on plant-based diet for 14 years and mainly eating vegan diet, occasionally seafood because I was traveling a lot to Asia, and if I could, eat fresh out of the ocean seafood, I would also consume it, but it wasn't on a regular basis. So when I was really afraid that something extremely challenging may happen to me, I started looking for solutions and first embarked on ketogenic diet for a while, and then gradually, with help of internet and just reading as much as I could, I decided that to rebuild my nervous system from the long COVID symptoms, um, having plenty of amino acids was the right way to go. I was reading some books, listening to some lectures. That prompted me into trying it. And it's been a little over a year since I started. And I've made some improvements or little changes, in terms of my microbiome to fully recover and thrive. So it was a gradual process. It wasn't overnight. I first eliminated carbs and starches. I wasn't eating gluten, but I was eating plenty of fruits, lots of green smoothies. I have a Vitamix. I was drinking those smoothies every single day, lots of oxalates, right? And lots of plant toxins. Trying to fine tune because my symptoms were severe. I would have suicidal thoughts several times per week. I had incredible insomnia. I lost my menstruation. It was just like everything just collapsed. Almost, it felt like at once. So I was really in agony, off and on for 3 years, a little over 3 years. That was the most difficult experience I've had in my adult life, even though I had really challenging childhood growing up in certain family dynamics. But in my adult life, this was very terrifying. But I'm the kind of person who wants to understand and wants to learn why things are happening, why my body is screaming at me, and I was determined to at least learn. If I wasn't going to survive it, because I had those thoughts often as well, that I was going to try to understand, why these things are happening, and at least, go down sort of my own way rather than just go to the hospital and get a bunch of antipsychotic drugs and hormonal replacement therapy. I just became very, very educated, and I'm a very teachable person. And so gradually it made sense to me to eliminate everything that I used to eat and focus on the most nutritious food on the planet, which is meat and organ meats, and probiotics and so on.
Wow. And so once you started doing that, how soon did you start noticing improvements with your mental health?
It took maybe 2, 3 months. It was gradual. It wasn't overnight. I know some people have seen improvements rather quickly, but because COVID destroyed my nervous system, and so to rebuild your body from the ground up, I think you have to be a little bit understanding that everything that you put in is just going to be utilized, but then there is a lot of healing, elimination, detox, and so on happening on many, on many levels. Your body is repairing, right? So I knew that it's not going to be overnight. And I do a lot of meditations and yoga, and I write, and I take several supplements. So I was just doing all those things to assist my body, and just lovingly encouraging all those cells to do the right thing, and supporting step by step all the phases of healing. But it wasn't overnight that I felt like I can actually feel safe in my body, and my conscience can come back to the body, and then I can embody the essence of Aga again. That was a bit of a journey.
Mm. And so what was the signal that you had, or was there a signal that you were on the right path early on? Did you have any feeling?
You know what? I used to have very strange sensations in my brain, in my head, almost as if there was like a metallic feeling, foreign sort of presence. I did also heavy metal detox using chelation, but that feeling of just like a static, disruptive presence, which I've had for over 3 years. When this feeling disappeared, I knew that my brain is working properly. So that was one of the symptoms that went away, and stable emotions again. When the joy returned, like naturally, I remember waking up and not feeling like I just want to jump off the cliff, you know, because I used to feel so joyful due to all of my meditation background, and thousands of hours of like inner process, like stillness, and I had a glorious inner kingdom that I developed over years. And when you lose that so quickly, it's devastating. So once that feeling returned, and I didn't have to fight for it, by running 2 hours a day just to have a little bit of endorphins to, compensate for that lack. That's when I knew that I am getting, to a good space again.
So it's been over a year now. There's no going back for you?
No, for sure. I'm not going back. I discovered ways to just streamline my diet. I went back to school. I am making all these changes because I can feel good again. So I can get a license as a therapist, and I can actually, um, study very easily. Why would I change something that really works? I haven't bought single vegetable for over a year. And some people still find it very challenging for their brain, for their belief system and whatnot. And occasionally, because I work at school, we have a garden, and there is like an apple tree. Because I move a lot, I occasionally would taste something that is not from animal kingdom, but this is very rare, and this is not something that I even crave. It's more like, it's fun to taste a little something different from time to time, but this doesn't, it's not determined by a sense of lack or sense that I'm missing something, that I need certain food to um, feel a sensation. Like if you feel great, like nothing external can really compare to feeling so balanced and healthy and aligned and joyful with lots of energy. Nothing equates to that even close. I'm sure you know this very well, this feeling.
Yeah,
So,
that's
mhm.
very well put. Very well put.
So it's not really something like on my mind. Even like I watch a little bit of channels here and there. People are experimenting with food, and I try little seasonings here and there. But honestly, having just like red meat, good quality meat from regenerative farms. So I did my research, where I want to source my meat from, and I get these boxes every month. And I learned how to make certain meats because I didn't know that before. I was a very good cook in terms of Eastern fusion, Asian fusion, cuisine, and it was delicious. But I don't have any emotional, to be honest, anymore connection with certain taste or polish, food that was part of my upbringing. I don't have the feeling of nostalgia. I don't really miss um, the connection with the food. I think we transform when we feel this way, and also as we mature as people and we develop, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. Really, life does not revolve around food for people like me and you, and I would imagine most carnivores who have recovered from severe illness.
Yeah. And that's one of the best things about it. It's like you realize there's more to life than just thinking about what
Totally.
the next food is. Um,
Yes.
yeah. So what is your day-to-day meals look like?
So I switch my boxes from beef, pork, and chicken to mostly beef, and I get variety of steaks these days, ribeyes. um, I get some seafood. So the boxes that I get, I can customize. Sometimes they have fresh shrimp or maybe wild caught salmon. So when this company offers it, I would add some seafood, shellfish. But one of my favorite things is having steak with some butter and some ghee. I use just salt and pepper. I eat about 4 to 6 eggs per day, pasture raised organic, a little bit of bacon here and there. And I started making a while ago this yogurt that is advertised or very very well sort of researched by Dr. Davis. He's an author of the book called, I'm sure you know, The Super Gut, right? And he talks about SIBO yogurt, Rotarai, Gastrai. Because when I was just doing carnivore, I wasn't sleeping well. And that was definitely impacting my life and my mood. So I was still searching for ways to address my sleep. And a lot of people are commenting that their sleep improved after this yogurt. This didn't happen to me, but I started experimenting with different microbes, Gasteri, Rotari, and all the keystone bacteria. I started making all kinds of notes and mapping out, those ancient microbes that most people in the Western hemisphere are missing. And I'm sure I was missing them as well. So that I eat every day this yogurt, which is a medicinal yogurt. It's prolonged fermentation over 36 hours and the temperature of the body 99 Fahrenheit. And I've been eating this yogurt since maybe September, October last year. So when I have my steak, my eggs, butter, I use this yogurt every single day. And yeah, sometimes it's ground beef, sometimes it's pork, whatever the box offers. I just had amazing ribeyes the other day. It seems like I don't have histamine intolerance. But a lot of it is, simple. I would add a little raw cheese. So yesterday I made ground beef from that regenerative farm, and I would just use some ghee, some butter, and I would season it with salt, pepper, a smoked paprika, a little paprika, maybe onion powder, and I would add a little bit of this raw cheese, and I would throw in 4 eggs. Cook it together. It's delicious. So that would be my my typical meal. And
Nice.
yeah, it's like, it's so satisfying. You eat this, and especially with this yogurt, which is very very different than anything you buy in a store, and you feel so just well taken care of. Your body is, very, very happy. One thing I forgot to mention, I added nutritional yeast and electrolytes to my diet because definitely I realized doing research that my sleep has to do with lack of magnesium, lack of adequate amounts of potassium. And I know some people have these issues when they start carnivore. I don't know how it is with you, but they are, losing a lot of these minerals. So I definitely needed to consume electrolytes, and the nutritional yeast from Dr. Berg, which is not fortified, it's all natural. He's got phenomenal, supplements. It really assured me that I have all the building blocks for my nervous system, which is the, bless you,
Thank you.
which is the foundation for, again, good sleep, healthy nervous system, right? So I went deep down because my sleep was still shaky. And now that I take potassium, zinc, I take electrolytes, I take nutritional yeast every day. I just sprinkle my food. I don't know if you're a fan, but that really just covers my nutritional needs.
Yeah, and so that's 1 meal a day, 2 meals a day?
Okay, two. Typically, I eat two meals. Two meals.
Mm,
I eat around 10 a.m. and I eat before sunset, so maybe around 6.
right. I
Uh-huh.
shouldn't do these interviews before I've eaten, I'm very hungry now.
You are.
So
What's for dinner, Dave?
just eggs and ground beef, probably.
Mhm.
Um, so, like, you're feeling good, you're eating this way, you've got no plans to change. Do you get any feedback from people around you about this?
You know what? It's interesting because I started working for a school. I live in LA and I work for this very special school called Whitney CPT. And it's fully dedicated to helping children with developmental disabilities. So, you know, children with autism, with Down syndrome, and many, many different physical, mental um, challenges that require proper care and nutrition. And I just turned 48 less than 2 weeks ago, and nobody believes my age. And also, I outperform young people. I'm super active. So, some people ask me, and I shared with a couple of people what I do. I see a lot of people addicted to sugar around me at this school. Coffee and cake in the morning, and they're all pre-diabetic. I mean, it's really interesting the contrast, between how I feel and how strong I am, and the people who eat ultra processed food, have metal feelings in the body, have imbalanced microbiome. It's very obvious to see the contrast. So, I'm a very confident person. Like I don't really care what people think, and people usually are curious because they see the glow. They always comment on my skin and my shape, and they think I'm around 28 years old. Also, maybe my spirit is just really sort of, you know uplifting and positive. So they ask me questions rather than be sort of shocked or coming through their own filter, through their own knowledge. And yeah, I haven't had any negative feedback. If anything, I give tips to people in my classroom, who have trouble sleeping or have trouble recovering from workouts. I talk about potassium, magnesium, glycinate, vitamin D3, which I think all of us should be supplementing. Even with the best diet, soil is really deprived of these microbes. So, at least for me, I would not feel as amazing as I do feel if I didn't supplement. So very, just I would say at least neutral feedback, curiosity. Yeah, I haven't been really attacked or somehow shamed, yeah, in any way.
Yeah. Nice. And has anyone been tempted to give it a try?
So people who have seen my healing journey and me rebuilding my health, honestly, I was in Chicago in September last year, and one old friend of mine who is vegan, I used to be vegan. And he's older than me. He's in his early 50s. He wouldn't tell me this straight, but he would send me memes, about compassionate treatment of animals, like right after he left. Uh, and so it seems like people have very hard time understanding that we know so little, and what I used to know was so not true about human health and what's nutritious. And they're very much in this space of maybe holding on to their own sense of worth based of what they think is right, and maybe there is some moral ground to their thinking that makes them feel in a way superior because they're not consuming animal sources of food. And I don't judge it. I used to believe as well that for my spiritual growth I should not be contributing to killing any sentient beings. And it's so ingrained in people that a lot of them will never wake up from that illusion. And so that's what I have noticed, that people, and it's not just about food, people who are dealing with some conditions. I have friends who are like highly intelligent, wonderful people, but they're still doing the same things they were doing in their 20s, but now they're approaching 50, and things that they haven't taken care of, it's really speaking to them, yet they don't understand that change and growth and expansion is a very fundamental part of human experience on this planet. So I've noticed that even with having plethora of information, maybe they say something, they're curious, but really, I'm the only person who makes these changes. Once I realize that there must be something there, I need to obviously experience that in order to tell if this is working, if this makes sense. Other people do not do not really belong to the same category of explorers. um yeah, I don't know even like one person who would be like, you know what, maybe they would say, I'm proud of you. One person said that, but other than that, they're back to eating their happy carbs and puffing and huffing on their nicotine or THC. I live in LA, so you know what goes on here, and just life goes on. That's been my experience. I don't know if that's yours as well, but
Yeah. No,
uh-huh.
I can understand that. People get something kind of set in their ways and their beliefs, and it's very, very hard for them to change.
Even if their health is declining, even if they see plenty of doctors talking about it, this is not some sort of internet fad, some sort of a passing trend. um, yeah, for people to really go beyond their identity that is connected to beliefs, that's that, I think, because I'm a shrink, and just looking at it from perspective of just human psyche, how people hold on to some ideas because without these ideas they feel like their self-worth is going to be diminished because they were wrong about something. Well, we're wrong about majority of things in life anyway. That doesn't define you as a human being. um so I think that identification with the self, which is very temporal, that creates a major blockage.
Yeah, yeah, and it's interesting, right? Because I mean, it's that's a human condition. You don't want to be wrong, but the reality is, the more times you're wrong, the more likely you are to find the right way. It's the same
What
as, the more times a salesperson is told no, the closer they are to getting a yes, you know?
100%. Life is really not about, you know, repeating the same cycles. It's really, exploring it to the end, and then graduating and becoming more informed. The rest of you can get informed about the new information, and when you can integrate it, then you are on the next level of your cognitive capacity, ability to reason, ability to discern, ability to actually integrate more complex, more nuanced, or just new ways of thinking, living, engaging.
Yeah. So, Aga, if someone did come to you and say, "Okay, look, I'm willing to give it a try. Um, tell me how I should start carnivore," what would you advise them to do?
I would say, I'm glad that you came to the conclusion that there are different ways to care for yourself that are simple, that are healthy, that are going to support you hormonally, mentally, because food is medicine. And food is also a bit, what's the word I'm looking for, it's specialized. So even though um, most of the people can thrive on carnivore diet, we need to fine tune what works well for you. And based on my experience with food and where I started, and where I am right now, I can help you design a simple plan, include supplements like vitamin D3, K2. We can optimize your microbiome with a simple method of creating your own probiotic medicinal yogurt. And I can teach you how to heal yourself through this simple process, so that not just your body repairs itself and comes back to the equilibrium, but also you're going to achieve very calm state of the brain, and probably mental clarity that, unless you meditated for thousands of hours, you have no connection with. So that's going to bring a completely different internal landscape through which your mind, your thoughts, your intentions can be really seen, heard, experienced in a way that you can grab onto, you can understand, and you can act on it. Because this diet really helps connect the mind, the body, the spiritual, emotional, and mental self. It helps restore connection to your intuition, to your instinct, and maybe even like deeper ancestral, multi-generational knowledge. Because once you clear the brain fog, the inflammation, everything flows. And our genes upregulate in real time. We know this already. So all of this can happen naturally without medication, without spending a lot of money. You do have to make good choices and eliminate things like seed oils, sugar, starches. But the food that I'm going to propose that you eat is so delicious and satisfying that you're going to very quickly lose the need to, have that extra piece of chocolate after your dinner. How
Yeah.
does it sound?
Very nice. Um, so, Aga, if people want to reach out to you, do you have any way of getting in contact?
Yes, I do. As you know, I focus on mental health, spiritual health. So I have YouTube channel, and I have Instagram. My Instagram is called Balance Lab by Aga Furtak. And my website is called balanceisperfection.com.
No, nice. I'll link to all of those in the show notes.
Thank
Aga,
you.
thank you so much for coming back on and letting us know how things are going. I really appreciate your time.
It's my pleasure, and I really appreciate what you're doing, and the fact that you are gently reminding people every day that this path is always available. And I think we need that. We need, everything that we repeat um, has a chance to actually um, stay in, get internalized. And so what you're doing is basically just inviting people with those interviews believe in the power of testimony. So thank you again for the work that you do, and it was a pleasure talking to you.